Ahoy, welcome back to another video. It's 9 p.m. Elden Ring comes out in 2 hours. I've got my coffee. But before we do
Gotta
that...
get through this. Let's go.
Gotta get through this. Go. Praise the sun.
Praise the sun.
But before we do that, Sir Lumber, Brendan, I want to talk about our favorite games of 2024 at what I'm calling basically the mid-year point.
Right. Close enough.
Close enough. The only game we're playing that's coming out in June is about to come out in 2 hours, and I'm sure that'll be on the list. But there are plenty of good games that came out this year before that. So I figured, why not just kind of go through a couple games, talk about our favorites, have a nice little check-in where we're at in mid-year of 2024.
A chat, right? Perhaps around a bonfire.
Perhaps a chat. We are ready to go. Why don't you go ahead and give me a game that you've enjoyed this year so far?
Man, I'm trying to think of something funny, but nothing's coming to mind. So, I mean, do you want to just lead things off? I feel like I kind of want to go in order of like.
Sure.
Well,
yeah.
actually, this wouldn't be in order. So I'll step back and give the unexpected answer.
Okay.
First game of 2020. Well, first game in 2024 that came out in 2024 that I played was a surprise, I think, to both of us. But Grand Blue Fantasy Relink.
Oh yeah, Grand Blue Fantasy. Yeah.
Just kind of throw it back. I know that's been in one of your videos probably recently, probably for the January video. That was a total like surprise for me. Now I'm a third-person action guy for sure. Like the gameplay itself, like just on paper, like works for me. But I knew nothing about the franchise. I know it has like mobile game roots and then like fighting game. Yeah, so it has like a 2D fighter.
There's a mobile game, then like two fighting games, and then this one.
Yeah. And this one I think obviously is the most like developed story wise. Maybe the mobile game has like, you know, some relevant stuff going on there, but it didn't seem like I was missing out too much. Like, I know there's
like a good place to jump in for this series.
Yeah, I thought so, because I mean, even if there was like history between some of these characters that you're introduced to, like there's some, you know, dialogue going on and like little item descriptions and crap like that, like character descriptions that you can read, and it does a good job. But yeah, it's third person like action game where you can have a really big party, right? What is it, like 3 at a time, but you can swap a lot of them?
Three or four, you kind of switch between them all as you will, and they all have good, their combos all feed into each other well, and you can you can kit them out as detailed or as undetailed as you want. Basically, I kind of just, my main character was like super in the weeds. I got what I wanted, and everyone else just kind of use what you got. But.
Yep. It's interesting because you have like the main cast of characters that's like on the box art and everything, or maybe there's more than just the main cast in the box art. But you know, the characters that are getting all the voice lines are the ones in the story, the like, you know, ones in the thick of it. And then you have like 20 other characters that are totally random.
So many.
And they're like, you know, heroes from different regions and stuff that you can recruit. And you know, basically it's like each character has their own weapon type and like elemental type, and they have like specific combos they do. And you know,
every character plays different.
Yeah, even though they also play similar enough with like the button layout that you can kind of swap from one to the next and kind of feel like okay about it. And then it's all about like building up that like basically like a limit break and doing that like big team combo attack. So it's very colorful and, you know, frantic and, you know, big epic bosses. It's kind of cheesy and anime at times, but like I'm all over that stuff, so I don't care. And it was a big surprise. Like I said, I hadn't dabbled in any of that, and I think right before it came out, we were at our local game store, and I bought Grand Blue, what's it called? Fantasy Versus,
like that, yeah.
And that's a PS4 game. It came out like a few years ago or something like that. And it's fun. It's a 2D fighter. The story mode is bleh, but like the fighting game mechanics themselves are fun. And I dabbled in that for a bit before playing the Relink. And it was really fun. It was really cool. There was multiplayer stuff going on in it too.
Multiplayer was really good. Seamless multiplayer. We could be in each other's hubs and go to the. Think of it kind of like if you played Monster Hunter. Kind of acts like that. You're in the hub together, and then you like pick a mission and you go do it. You get your rewards. You get individual rewards, and you go back and upgrade stuff. Yada yada.
You kind of like go out on a hunt and beat a boss, or you know whatever. There were different like flavors to the missions, but it was really cool, and I think it did well overall, like critically. And I kind of want to look into. It was like Grand Blue Fantasy versus something like the other fighting game
versus Rising.
Is it versus Rising? Yeah, I think that came out right before Relink or right after, somewhere.
It was right before,
and so I don't know if it has more modes and stuff like compared to the first fighting game, but I kind of want to look into that at some point. Maybe go pick that up when it's on sale or something. But it was a nice surprise. So that's what I'll talk about first. It was the first game of 2024 that came out this year that I played.
Well, I think I'll stick to your pattern, and I'll do the first game of 2024 that came out this year that I played, that you have then since played, and that is Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown.
What a good game.
Prince of Persia. So I'm a what's the dreaded M word? Metroidvania. I'm a Metroidvania fan. Dreaded. Metroid dreaded.
Metroid
there we go.
dreaded.
There we go.
Full circle here, but you can't say that. You can't call things Metroidvanias anymore.
A search action platformer. In which
action. I've never heard that. Okay,
yeah.
I'll take it. Yeah, because it is all about like searching, getting a power up, going and exploring an area that you previously
via action.
That's the action, yes.
But this game, I'm not like a big Prince of Persia fan. I probably played Sands of Time on the GameCube or something at some friend's house. I have no idea.
Any of them.
But this game, I liked the shift of the genre they did. So I was interested, and then it came out to great reviews, and I was like, screw it. It's January. It's normally a pretty dry part of the year.
Really good reviews. Like it was like, wow, oh my gosh! Like Ubisoft was putting out totally different thing from their usual stuff, and it's like, wow! It like blew everyone's socks off.
It was so good.
It was impressive.
This game's platforming. It starts off, like everything else. You have a good feeling jump. You have a slide. All that stuff.
Yeah.
Wall jumps.
A deflect. You get deflect, which is a platform, but that's in the combat. Yeah.
The platform is so smooth in this game. You get so many options. You have your typical, your wall, your dash, and your double jump, but you also get some cool you play around with time and space, kind of with your through upgrades in the game. Right. I don't want to
leave a. Oh wait, okay, I won't.
Yeah, we can talk about there's different unique things that come into the game that are.
I think one that's the earliest kind of time manipulation thing that's in the trailers and stuff. You leave a copy of yourself that then you can teleport back to. So if an obstacle was crossing your path, you can get yourself out of danger, leave a copy there, and then go back to it when the obstacle was moved out of the way.
It brought some good puzzles, like pulling a lever, teleporting back, opening that lever, which opens the door. Right. Yep. Such a great game. The platform is great. The explorability. You're always finding things. By the end of the game, I was kind of the things that I was finding weren't super rewarding. It'd be like a coin to upgrade a charm that I wasn't going to use. But the combat in this game was solid. Really good. It's melee combat. You had the bow for some range damage, but mainly melee combat. Really fun bosses. Pretty relatively challenging.
I think so, especially by the end game. The big set piece bosses, they gave a little bit of a challenge. It wasn't an overly hard game, but it was very snappy and polished, and it was great.
I played on the Switch, and it was 60 locked, smooth as hell.
I played PS5, and it was obviously no hiccups there. So really good game, and it was another huge surprise. I mean, I didn't play it when it came out, but I was I had my eye on it from launch. I was like, okay, I should try this one out. I really like Dread. This one has sword combat, and I'm a sucker for that. So I should dabble in it. So I played it. I guess it was a couple months ago now. But I 100%ed it. As far as getting the platinum, I think there were probably still some minor collectibles to get, but they weren't required for the platinum. So I just got the platinum on PS5.
I played 30 hours, and I got so much collectibles, and when I rolled credits and you get percentage or whatever, it's 78%. I'm like, okay, screw it. I'm not getting all this stupid
I don't remember what mine said, but by the end of the game, you can get maps that reveal everything, and I got most stuff, but there were things I was just not going to go back and get, because it's I'm not going to get a random collectible with a little bit of flavor text on it, and it doesn't even contribute to the trophy.
I didn't read all the flavor text, but it was cool that there was a lot of lore in this game. If you wanted to read it, there was a lot of lore in this game. Yeah, cool game. I hope Ubisoft makes a follow-up. I know they're making DLC later this year, but I hope this game does well enough where they can get another one of these down the line.
Yeah, they've got they just put out a patch during Summer Games Fest, or during their Ubisoft Forward, I think, was when it came out after that. I think it was a boss rush mode and some time trials or some stuff like that. It was for free.
Classic after post-launch add-on stuff.
Right, which is totally cool. There are going to be people who are going to be all over that, because if you really want to just keep playing and being in that world with that combat system and all that, then that's for you. And then actual story DLC, I think, is coming out I don't remember, was it September, October, sometime in the fall-ish.
in the future
when nothing else is coming out.
Nothing else is coming out this year.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dead year,
plenty
crazy.
Of time to play that. Just a dead year, dude. We'll get into it. I'm sure to just rapid fire through all the stuff coming out. It's kind of crazy, but Prince of Persia, another good surprise. But yeah, you want me to go to the next one then?
Go to the next one.
If we're going in order of games released and played, I mean the big February into all of March game was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I mean, people who've heard you talk about your interests on your channel, like obviously know that that's right up your alley. It's also right up my alley, if that was ever a secret. But yeah, I mean, what an incredible
I think we did a spoiler cast on the Yuffie DLC that's sitting about 7 views right now on the channel. So.
Yeah, hey, everyone knows that means the message has gotten
the
out.
People who need to know we're fans of the game.
Exactly. Yeah, 2 of those views are me and you, like under a different account. I mean,
yeah.
No, it's such a good game. I mean, I think the biggest question going into Rebirth was, okay, people who know the original game, like Final Fantasy VII, 1996, 7, whatever.
7,
yeah. Like, everyone knows what happens after Midgar, which was the whole story of Remake. And it's like, they're going to go out into this big open world. How are they going to do it? Because we knew it was, like, chapter-based before, and, like, obviously they had the combat system down, but, like, it was very unclear, I think, how they were going to transition into that. And I think we started getting little inklings of it, but then, on release, like how they executed like the zones that were really big zones
it's an
each,
open
like,
zone game,
yeah, and it felt like open world because you could still pretty much go back and forth between zones. I didn't find much reason to do that until maybe like way later in the game.
It's a Sonic Frontiers
to do it.
It's just like Sonic Frontiers.
Right, yeah,
they stole the idea from them.
Which one's better? I don't know. But yeah, obviously they're very solid, like, characters and that, like, the interactions between them and the combat system, and they just kept building on top of it. They introduced more characters, and just what a fantastic game. I mean,
I love that combat system. That combat system is so good.
It's so good. I do hit a cap with it when it gets to really challenging stuff. I find myself, like, it almost becomes a puzzle at that point. You really have to be in the right mood. You have to, like, kit your guys out with the best stuff, not the best stuff, but the right stuff. You have to be in there with the right materia, and, like, really have to be switching between them and playing really, really smart. It gets kind of overwhelming sometimes. But I'm talking like in-game optional, like
if you're playing hard mode and stuff, it's like that. You have to come with a build to beat the boss. But if you're just playing normal playthrough on normal difficulty, you're not going to get pushed back.
It's a super satisfying experience. Yeah, the casual experience through, like, and then doing some of the side stuff too, because there were plenty of side things I did. I'll say I did.
Some would say too many side things, but. I didn't think so, but some people, it was a lot of side stuff.
Oh, if I said too many, I didn't mean to. Yeah, there wasn't too many. Like, no. There was a ton of side stuff. Yeah. I will say, like objectively speaking, there was so much stuff to do in the game, but it all felt pretty meaningful and satisfying to do. And, like, for people who knew about the base game, like, what regions you're getting into with, like, the gold saucer and, like, all that stuff. What's opening up. Like, the original game had mini games galore and all that stuff, so it totally fit. But yeah, like, so many questions going into, like, this with the story, like, going into this game, which are, we don't need to talk about that here, but, like, I'm just that much more excited for, the third installment, hopefully not too long from now.
Yeah, and I've kind of gone back and forth in the story, because I was thinking about, like, did I like the story or did I like the characters? And, like, the story itself, it's like, did fun things happen in the game? Sure. Was there, like, a really complex narrative that was tied to a nice bow at the end? Not really. But the characters,
it wasn't necessarily supposed to be, but
this is the middle third of a 3-part thing. Right. So we're trying to make
that's hard to do.
Trying to make a beginning of the end out of the middle part.
Right.
But the characters are so well written. They interact together so well. They're so likable. That we could be doing complete nonsense the whole game, and I like just doing that because the characters are so good.
Yeah, and I was going to say, the story is the characters. Like, yes, there's this overarching narrative about, it boils down to world gonna end, like, essentially. And, spoilers there.
Yeah.
But, like, it plays it safe in some ways, purely story-wise, but then it takes risks in others, and it takes this system that they developed, and just, I feel like, even if they end the trilogy of games, and I don't want to spoil too much, but without, like, having made crazy drastic changes, which is what people are thinking they will, they still, it feels like they're realizing the vision for the game that came out 20 years ago almost, or more than, right, 27 years ago. Which like that's quite a feat, because like people are going to remember these characters, I think, as they look in these games more so than the original game. Because there's 3 games now, and like they also take on the character look of, like, there was the movie that came out, like Advent Children, early 2000s and all that. So like this is what these characters, like how people are going to view them going forward, and I think that's for the better. We'll see how the story ends up, but like, I mean, what an experience.
Like playing original FF7, I don't care about Barrett. I don't care about that guy. I know nothing about him. But remake and rebirth Barrett, I love that guy.
I care about that man.
He's so good. He's such a good character.
He's great. And that's the thing. They've had the opportunity now to, like, they've literally added a voice to these characters, and like they expand on their stories and their families and like how they are the way they are. And the Final Fantasy VII story is about the characters, and yes, there's this other narrative, but that is important. But yeah, I think that they've done such a good job, and like they still deserve more, like more than enough like grace and like benefit of the doubt to like finish it up, tie a good bow on it, and I'm sure it'll be divisive or whatever, because things always are. But this is squarely sitting right at number 1 game of the year. I don't know how it could. I mean, unless Elden Ring DLC, if I count that, it could totally knock it off. But like, if I say, okay, that's DLC for an already existing very good game that I know is a good game, so I can kind of put it over here like parallel. But like, if we're just talking about completely beginning to end new game experiences, Final Fantasy VII is going to be hard to top, I would say. I
agree with you. I've kind of personally moved on to the mindset that DLC for me, it's just going to count as a new game, because that's kind of how I treat it.
Yeah, that's fine.
So there's no rules. It's all made up. We're all just talking on a freaking camera right now. It doesn't matter. But the only thing that has a good shot outside of Mario and Luigi Brothership is Elden Ring to top Final Fantasy. That's my clear number 1 by far. So.
Dude, I've been counting it down, man. Like, even if I say like, oh, it's not technically a new game, I'm so excited for this, and we're so close to it. I know maybe we shouldn't be dating this video, but like, less than 2 hours now, and I don't care.
We're just wasting time. That's what this is.
We should just take that out of the later discussion where it's like, what are we looking forward to? Okay, yes, obviously, it's gonna keep coming up. We need.
I'm not gonna talk about it.
Stop talking about it. Yeah. But on to you. What do you got?
I think I have one more game that I think you have played, or I know you have played. So I'll go with the one that you haven't played.
Okay.
And a game that you probably will play later this year, and that is, hold with me here, Balatro. I'm saying it the way that I've been told is the proper way to say it. I called it Balatro all year. Apparently it's Balatro. The roguelike card game that is taken over the world, at least in February it did. I got this game on my Switch on a whim. Just people saying it was so good. It got like a 90-something on Metacritic. And I was going on a trip. I was like, I need a good handheld game to play. And over the trip, I was at my friend's wedding for like 4 or 5 days. I think I put 25 hours in this game.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Dude, is this the snowed in one?
Yes, we were snowed in. I was just playing this game nonstop. So basically, it is a listen to these words here: roguelike deck builder. So some people will immediately turn that off. Listen to me here. If you like math or probability or seeing numbers get big at all, this game is.
I'm watching the viewer count. It's tumbling. You gotta stop.
Hey, this game is built for me in a lab. It's like, would you like to make number get really big and then just keep multiplying it? You literally have 2 numbers. You have a base multiplier, then like you have a base number, then a multiplier, and you play. You get delta hand of cards, and your job is to play poker hands. I didn't know how to play poker. You don't really know how to play poker. It'll explain to you what you need to know. I had no poker background, but you're playing poker hands. So pair, 3 of a kind, full house, flush, all that stuff, and each of those hands is worth a certain amount of base points and a multiplier. And basically, you have a certain number of points you need to get each round. And you play your cards, you get your hands. In between rounds, you get these joker cards that are basically like skills or abilities. That like, you basically build, you create a build. And like, okay, I'm going to start going into flushes.
Based on the type of hand, right?
I'm going to start going into flushes. Or I want something that makes it more likely that I'm gonna get like red cards or something, whatever, and you're manipulating your deck. You can get new cards for your deck, and you're also manipulating how the multipliers work and like different bonuses. It's so fun. I had to stop playing this game because I was just I had already beaten it. I did all the highest difficulty. I just kept playing it. I had to put it aside because I was just going to keep playing. I wouldn't play anything else. I'm really looking forward to the physical coming out later this year because it's going to come out with 10 physical cards from the game.
Right. Unfortunately, they are all the same for everybody, is what I've heard. So that's good.
Yeah, that's like it's like both good and bad because like it's bad because like that rush if like what if I get like a holographic rare card and then it's like nice because it's like okay I'm just gonna get one and I don't have to worry about it.
Right.
This game it is quite literally the number 2 game on my list this year behind Final Fantasy.
Yeah, that's awesome. I also pre-ordered the physical and I got it for Switch over like PS5 because I think that just makes sense handheld. So I just can't see if I'm going to play a game like that. I cannot see myself like sitting on the couch, grabbing my controller, turning on my TV and everything, sitting in front of like a giant like screen of solitaire, basically. Like, I'm going to play it handheld. Like,
totally good to lock in. Put on some headphones. Right. It has one song the whole game, but it's like this. It would like. You'll enter a Zen state. You'll like become one with the cards. I can hear the song in my head right now. I haven't played it in like a month and a half.
I think I've heard it a bit, but I've watched streamers and stuff play it. But
it's so good.
Not very much, but yeah.
There's something about
when's it coming out? September.
Nothing else is coming out in September.
But
right. This is one of those games you can play it and watching somebody play it. It doesn't look as fun as it is, but being behind the sticks and making these decisions yourself, I think part of it is like the rush of like the gambling. Like I'm gonna take a risk here. Like I'm gonna hope that I draw a king. So I'm gonna make a risky play here and hope because I've got like 3 kings left in my deck. I'm gonna hope I could draw a king, and then when you hit that. Oh man, it's so good.
The thing is, I can totally see how it's good because I sat there. There's a particular streamer I watch who normally is a Souls guy, but he will randomly stream roguelites also, and it was interesting to me because like it's very like soothing just to have on in the background. Like I'll watch the streamer while like playing my own games or whatever, and so I'm looking forward to like jumping in myself and I don't know. The fall is just unfortunate for every game, really, because I don't know how I'm going to make a decision about what I'm going to play. Like, I think rapid fire, like, what's coming out, because there's so much. And I'll try to stick to that order. But whenever Balatro comes in, or Balatro, September, like, I'll just do my best. Hopefully I go on, like, a weekend trip to, back home to Houston or something. And then that would be a good time to just have it on deck. But, on deck? Okay. You hear that? Good. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's a good game. You can play it for 5 minutes. You can play it for 2 hours. It doesn't matter. It's very fun. Very snappy too. No, it doesn't waste your time.
It's good.
Balatro, great game.
Balatro, yeah.
All right, you got another one?
Should I? The last game I have that I played more than this game. But as far as games that came out in 2024, this is the last one most recent one I played. Hopefully we'll have time for more in the future, but Stellar Blade came out. When was that? April? End of April? Yeah. Another surprise because it was basically an unknown developer, but this is another third-person action-y, like, almost hack and slashy, kind of Souls-like a bit, but almost Sekiro-like,
it's got a little bit of all the Souls games and just like straight up action game in there.
Yeah, very fast-paced, very intense like combat. Interesting story. There was a lot of conversation about the main character and everything, but I'm just there for the sword combat. And it was really good. It was a solid 40 hours, 30 hours.
If you did all the side stuff, easy 35, 40. If you just bolt, I did a New Game Plus. I just bolted the end, not nearly as long.
Yeah. Well, before I talk about that whole experience, because I did delve into New Game Plus a little bit. I haven't finished it, but it's got multiple endings and stuff like that, which is what will justify the New Game Plus. Just the combat is the focus, and using abilities, you build up this meter and you spend it on abilities throughout combat, and you want to get good at deflecting. I don't think it's as critical as other games of deflecting. It's helpful to do though. Sometimes you should, but
to me, if you got good, I used the I used to deflect so much, and I got into using the gear that makes deflecting easier. And once you just get in the habit of pressing the L1 button, you just win. I don't think anything stood in my way the rest of the game.
No, there were, I think, in the end game, like end game, like final boss stuff, it posed a good challenge. But before that, I was kind of steamrolling it in a satisfying way. I feel like I learned the combat system.
Yeah,
I was rewarded for it because
it still feels good to pull off those parries and those big flashy kills and big flashy combos. When you're kicking ass, it makes you feel good about it. It's not like you're not just killing stuff and running the next thing without any thought in the world. Like it's impactful. It's flashy. There's cool animations. The sound effects are really good. The deflect sound effect
music's
is
really good. I thought the music was good.
I didn't realize until I was like, music's pretty damn good in this game. Like it was constantly getting better. Yeah. So again, kind of an unknown developer. It performed very well. Like ran very smoothly. Like graphics were great. The combat was good. It felt good. I want a sequel. I just want that developer to keep making games like that because I want to see. I always get excited when a developer comes out, like even if there's flaws, when actually compared to other Souls-likes, this one had, I think, the fewest flaws, like compared to like my personal taste on like Lies of P and like Lords of the Fallen, which are more in the Souls-like genre than this one. But when you see a relatively unknown developer come in and like be successful like this, that's really exciting. It's like, okay, they can just keep, improving on that. And I just want to see what other things they're creative about. So really, really good. I did start a New Game Plus run to start getting the other Indians, and I kind of fell off it because there's just too many things to play. But the fact that I started it and played for like another 5 hours or something, that's telling for me because once I hit credits, I'm really bad about it. Like there are only a select few games that like keep my attention past the credits unless I come back to them way later. So it has that appeal of like being like quick, fast enough to like, want to just jump back in and keep playing. It's really satisfying, and fun. So that was, again, this year has been kind of full of surprises. I mean, Final Fantasy VII was not a surprise, but it was a lot of hype. But then the other games that I've played that have come out this year, I was not expecting them to be as good as they were. Like Grand Blue was very good, Prince of Persia and Stellar Blade, like all very, very good, polished like experiences. So when people say that like, there's companies just phoning it in or whatever, like there's nothing coming out, there is. You got to pay attention a little bit, and So I do have one legitimate complaint for Stellar Blade.
Go for it.
One not ticky-tacky one.
Yeah.
The game is split up between smaller linear sections and a couple bigger open sections. The two biggest open sections we're doing on your side quest, they're both like deserty environments.
Yeah.
I would have preferred. I did get a little like. Still running. Like I would have liked to run through a different environment for the big open section. I feel like that's where I spent most of my time was those two sections, and they felt
for sure.
Boring.
It's one of those things where it's like even if there's like legitimate story reasons for it, they could have made legitimate story reasons for it to look different. So it's like, I get that. It felt very samey. One was like, more desolate than the other. Like one had like an oasis and like it was more like dunes and stuff. The other one was like a barren, like you're in the middle of the Grand Canyon, like barren wasteland, like not really a desert, but just like tan rocks all
don't get me wrong,
you, so.
Cool areas. I liked them. I was upset that like 60% of my game time was spent in those two areas.
Right. I agree. Because there were some other environments in the game that were really, really cool.
Yep.
So it was just the way they chose to design the two biggest areas. Yeah, they could have given them a little bit more, but maybe that's, next game. Who knows?
Yeah. Great game.
Yeah.
Great game.
Yep.
I think that nails up I think we did talk about all of my top 5. Funny enough.
I have more if you want. I can just mention as an honorable thing.
Yeah, just wrap up a couple honorable mentions. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one that I want to mention because it's just based on game time and it's very recent. I got back into Hades when Hades 2 came out. I was like, okay, I only have a Steam Deck. That'd be the only way I can access the early access version of Hades 2. I don't want to do that. I want it to be finished and everything, even though I know it's like really polished from what I've heard. I was like, I only escaped Hades one time when I bought it on Switch, like 3 years ago or whatever. I have the PS4 version that I acquired for like very, very cheap. Which, if people don't have that, that's a great deal. That's a great thing to snag because it's got like a really cool art book in it.
Oh, nice!
And it's got like a kind of a holographic cover as well. It's really, really cool. But I got back into that on PlayStation, and I ended up rolling credits for real. I put like at least 30 hours into it, and that was like 30 hours that went by really fast and like well spent. That game's great. I think that's not news to anybody, but it's.
And now you're ready
really,
for Hades
really
2.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm day one. I'm sold on that, and it really snowballs. Like there's a lot you can do more so than what I did. You can upgrade all the weapons and like unlock hidden weapons and like get more dialogue from like NPCs and stuff like that. But I just wanted to roll credits and like have a satisfying like conclusion more so than what I got, a couple years back. And I did. It's incredible. Like, and I'm a sucker for like Greek mythology as well, so that kept me going because I wanted to learn more about the dynamics and the family and all that stuff. That game is just very good. I'm glad I went back because while I liked it a couple years ago, I always was left feeling like, I don't know if I got enough out of that, but I don't really feel like continuing to play it because I'm not really a big roguelike guy. Blah blah blah. I gave myself all these excuses not to play it. So it was a good thing to go back and do. Really, really solid.
Nice.
But yeah, that's the main honorable mention. I mean, I played other stuff. Like, I'll throw Armored Core in there. That was the first game I beat this year. Nice. Armored Core is fantastic.
Yeah.
FromSoft can do no wrong.
I think that was like my number 11 last year because last year was a crazy year. So that was, but I've got a couple indie games I played this year. I just want to shout out. All great games in their own right. So I talk about Balatro. That's like my number 2 game. But I do have a handful of other games. Animal Well, fun. Little Metroidvania puzzle-y game. Penny's Big Breakaway, a pretty fun, stylish platformer. Not as fun as I'd like it to be, but I still enjoyed it. Super Kiwi 64 got DLC levels this year. That game's great. You're the biggest fan. I love that game. Another Crab's Treasure, great, true Souls-like. Not Souls-like. People say like, oh, this is like a Souls-like, got Souls elements. This is a Dark Souls game. Another Crab's Treasure is a Dark Souls game. If you like Dark Souls, you'll like this game. And then last but not least, Master Key, most recent game I beat. Traditional 2D Zelda game with lots of good exploration and puzzles. Lots of good games this year so far. But that being said, we can't play all the good games so far. Real quick, any really big games this year that you really just want to get back to if you have the time that you missed that came out this year?
Yeah, so I'll keep it to things that I haven't even purchased because I think that those because I have stuff that I purchased. Like one thing I'll just shout out from the top, which is not from this year, but Baldur's Gate 3. Like Larian, if you're listening to this video, please give me my copy so I can play it.
The physical edition,
PS5, the physical deluxe edition. I bought it for PS5. As of last week, they said that shipping updates would be going out for an early July delivery for the PlayStation 5 people, and I have not gotten anything yet. So I just need to know, like, what's going on. No, I'm just kidding.
I can't wait for you to try to figure out where you're going to fit that this year.
It's not gonna fit. Like it's like it does. I mean, honestly, if I'm thinking about it, it would have to be like July into August because I don't know how long Elden Ring's gonna take me, but like. And there's other stuff
It'll take you now into August.
Yeah, and I'm like freaking playing Persona 5 on my Steam Deck, which is a terrible choice. Not because it's a bad game; it's a fantastic game. I don't know when I'm gonna finish that. Like I put it down for like a week now because I've been busy, and like now Elden Ring's coming up. But this is not answering the question. I'll answer the question now. 2 things that I definitely still want to go buy, maybe on sale or something. But kind of easy one. Tekken 8. It looks really, really cool. One of the best looking games out there, especially the best looking fighting games.
Yep. Looks awesome.
I think that it's just because of the feedback I saw, the critical acclaim for it, and I'm a weird person with fighting games. I always really enjoy them. Sometimes I enjoy some more than others, or like I'll stick with some and kind of bounce off of others. They're very video gamey, right? Like that is like video game almost in its purest form. I feel like, other than like I don't know, a shoot 'em up or something. But so I'm always kind of like an enthusiast for it, even though I suck at them and I don't always like play them very long. I'm really glad they exist, and it looks like they're just all the major series are like hitting on all cylinders. They're still putting out their best games yet.
Great type of fighting games.
Tekken 8 looks to be one of those. I see it on sale regularly, and I'm sure it'll keep going down. I'll probably pick that up. And then just one more I'll mention because I'm a sucker for Souls-likes, and specifically Team Ninja because of Neo, but Rise of the Ronin. Nice. I think it got some mixed, reviews, which, were understandable because there were some like kind of basic, open worldy things going on with it. But I've heard from others, and like the combat, first of all, is really, really good, which is what Team Ninja's known for. And then Like, I don't think the open worldy stuff is as bad as what people made it out to be, from what I've heard. But that's very subjective.
Reviews are a starting point, and that might be perfect for you. That might be your game. So,
well, I always look for. I couldn't really care less about the score. I want to hear, like, okay, what specifically you like or don't like. So and based on information, if I'm waiting for reviews at all, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just buy the thing. Yeah. Then I'll make a decision based on that. But Rise of the Ronin looks, I've heard, really solid. And because of Team Ninja's pedigree, like I played Neo 1, Neo 2, Wolong, their combat is like top notch. And they've made some of the best Souls-likes out there, I would say, like that aren't from software, obviously. Yeah. I want to get back to that. Tekken is less of a priority. Rise of the Ronin is like, I want it. I just don't know how it fits because there's so many games coming out.
Rise of the Ronin kind of feels like the game for me where it's like, I'm sure I'd like that. And another game that kind of another game that kind of fits in that bucket for me. One of my games that I'm sure I'd like that is Like a Dragon. Like I've heard so much good stuff about that game. I've heard the combat's good, the writing's hilarious, the characters are very lovable. One day, when I find some time, but then, so that game's kind of like placed off to the side. The one I have actually purchased that I will play, I bought Persona 3. I just need to find a spot for it. I will play Persona 3. I know I'll like it.
Now that I'm a believer in Persona, which for those who don't know, I have right back there. I have the Persona 5 Steelbook,
the red one,
Steelbook edition. Yeah, it's really cool. I bought it years ago for like on sale for like $30-$40, whatever it was. And I tried it on PlayStation. I didn't realize what I was getting into with the life simi and not as much turn-based combat, which there actually is a lot. But for what I played, it was not exactly what I expected. I bounced right off of it after 10 hours. I've since now, as I mentioned earlier, I've gone back to it on Steam Deck, and having it handheld is very good. And I put like 25 hours into it. I'm fully bought in. I'm just going to get distracted for a bit with Elden Ring and such. But I'm a believer in Persona now, and I also want to play Persona 3. It'll have to be way later, but because I mean with everything else. But I've only heard good things about that as well.
I do want to quickly defend myself real quick. I said the red one when talking about Persona 5. I know Persona 5 is the red one. I mean, the box, the steelbook is a very red steelbook box.
Yeah,
I do. No, I'm not saying you do. I just know Persona people love their colors.
Right.
Persona 3 is the blue
Persona
one.
Persona 5 it's definitely the red one. Yeah. Persona 3 is the blue one. I think Persona 4 is the yellow one. I mean, it's got golden and everything. Yeah.
All right. Real quick, let's wrap this up. But I do want to go over quickly, rapid fire. Just rail off some games you're excited the rest of the year. I'll go first.
Yep. Go for
NES World Championship Edition, whatever it's called. And is NES Championship Edition? What's it called?
I think it's what it's called. NES World Championships.
NES World Championships.
Definitely World Championships.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yep.
I'm sure go in order. So after you, Black Myth Wukong coming out end of August.
Looks good.
That looks pretty crazy. I mean, we've seen so much of it for a long time. Ready to actually play that thing. I don't know
for that to actually exist.
Right. Yeah. For sure. I mean, I think people have gotten their hands on it at this point.
I think there was at Summer Games Fest. I think there was people playing it. Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of things people played at Summer Games Fest. Speaking of things people played at Summer Games Fest. Gosh, it's a mouthful. Metaphor Refantazio. I intend to play Persona 3. I want to play Persona 3. Then I'm gonna play Metaphor. It comes out like October
11th, which is the same day as another game. But I will say, Metaphor, very excited. While you're going to play Persona 3, I'm going to try to play Persona 5, and then play Metaphor. Persona 3 will be later. But on the same day, October 11th, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero.
Oh, yeah.
I have not played a Dragon Ball game in a long time. I played several like this, which is like still the Budokai Tenkaichi series, which my understanding is that Sparking is what it was called in Japan, and it was called
It's so goofy.
I don't
makes
understand,
no sense.
But
makes no sense.
I'm glad they're aligning that. But I didn't play any of those games, but I played other 3D Dragon Ball games like Raging Blast, and there was another series I can't remember what it's called. But I don't have a ton of experience, but this game looks very cool. I'm watching Super now. I'm like barely through it, like 15 episodes in. But I plan to finish Super and so I can appreciate the characters showing up and sparking Zero.
You've been talking about watching
Super.
Super. You've been talking about watching Super. I've been like, when I have like 10 minutes, I've been going on YouTube and rewatching Super clips. Just watching clips from that.
From what I've seen so far, I know it's only going to get cooler, but it's been really good so far.
Yeah, I'm excited for that game. Let's see, another one I'll list off. Astrobot.
I was going to say, don't forget Astrobot, man.
Astrobot, I won't forget Astrobot.
That is going to be Sony's Mario, which is what everyone has been telling them to do. Yeah. Like, it seems like a slam dunk, which, like, it's not going to be better than Mario. Like, no, we're not saying that. But it's going to be a true, like, third-person platformer for Sony that's theirs. It makes sense. It's great, like, branding. It's like a little robot dude, and their, stupid console already looks like something from, like a sci-fi TV show. So it's perfect. The branding is perfect. We already see that Team Asobi can make a good game with with Playroom and
Playroom
the
VR
VR
great.
games.
They're just making Playroom bigger, and that's all I wanted.
Perfect. Yeah. I already know it's going to be good. I know it's going to be, and that's not just because I have it in our video game fantasy.
Yeah.
But I know it's going to be great. But also that month, I've got my dates here. The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. That I think was one of the biggest surprises, if not the biggest surprise I had at the Direct the other day. I don't know. We'll see how my excitement evolves for that game as we get closer to it. I feel like I'm going to have to play it, of course, because it's a Zelda game and it's modern. So I've slacked on the older Zelda games, but modern ones that come out, I typically I get right in. And it's like puzzly. You're playing it as Zelda. You get to summon objects to
Here comes Zelda with the steel chair.
KO. Yeah.
It looks good. It looks good.
Interesting. We'll see.
I'm glad they're doing more of the Link's Awakening art style.
The little toy box looking thing. Yeah, looks cool. Yeah.
I'm excited for that one as well.
What you got?
Let's go. Dragon Quest 3.
Nice.
Dragon Quest
That's
3
November.
HDTD. Yep. That game's been announced for a couple years now. I think I've played all the HD2D games at this point. I love that art style.
What are we talking about here? Like which ones? Octopath 1 and 2.
Octopath 1 and 2, Live Alive, Triangle Strategy.
Triangle Strategy.
Star Ocean's kind of an HD2D game. The second one
still?
Yeah, Square.
It's not made by the HD2D team though, right?
It's not made by the HD2D team, but it's a Square RPG that kind of looks like it. It's like
it does.
Kinda,
yeah,
but
that one goes harder on the background being 3D and the character being 2D, right?
Yeah,
but it's more drastic.
Dragon Quest 3 looks great. It's one of those historically important games. It's this is Dragon Quest created the JRPG, but Dragon Quest 3 was the aha
popularized
moment.
It.
This is what everyone loved was Dragon Quest 3.
You should flash I'm gonna give you some work to do. You should flash the box art on the screen here. That box art is beautiful. By the way, everyone needs to acquire that so it's on the shelf forever.
You should buy it just to have it as an art piece.
It's so good. It's kind of that. What kind of I don't know what kind of paint it's called, but it's like watercolor almost. Dude, it's so nice.
Looks great.
I got it for PS5 personally. I don't know if you're gonna get it for Switch or PS5, but
I'll probably get it on Switch just because it's probably a good handheld game.
It probably is, and I may consider that at some. I've already got it pre-ordered because I pre-ordered it at the same time as my next game I'm gonna mention. But yeah, super excited for that. But I'll just go ahead and jump in. Day after Dragon Quest, which I'll have both of these because I'm just trying to prioritize. I don't know. There's no logic to this. I just buying stuff. But Assassin's Creed Shadows. That is November 15th. So it's weirdly that Dragon Quest 3 is November 14th, which is a Thursday, if that date stays or if that's accurate.
Yeah.
But yeah, Assassin's Creed Shadows. They did a gameplay 10 or 15 minute gameplay. I don't know if it's a deep dive per se, but you have to look at the different flavors of missions you're going to have as the two different protagonists. I'm a longtime Assassin's Creed fan. I haven't played all of them. There's just a handful that I haven't, but I played most of them. I know that people have fallen off the series as of late because it's kind of samey and or it's kind of bloated. But I still believe that Ubisoft knows what they're doing, and if they can just kind of hone it and focus in on what is most effective. Apparently this is going to be around the size of Origins, which I plan to play Assassin's Creed Origins before this. I don't know how I'm going to play all this stuff. I don't know. I'm planning though. And then, assuming there's a good enough break where I'm not burnt out, then I'll jump into Shadows. But I'm all about that era of Japan and samurai and shinobi and all that stuff. That's right up my alley. It looks really cool. So we'll
time allowing, I'm kind of a one of those people that you said is kind of fallen off Assassin's Creed. I played a lot of the earlier ones. Yeah. Time allowing, I would like to play this game. It looks really good.
Yep.
Let's see.
You're not mentioning one that I'm surprised you haven't mentioned.
Oh, is it Mario and Luigi Brothership?
There you go.
Heck yeah! No worry.
You need to mention that one.
No, I was gonna mention it. Don't worry. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
I love Mario and Luigi games. Superstar Saga was one of the earlier like regular turn-based RPGs I played because it was a Mario game and just I liked Mario. But I loved the action turn-based of it, where you're actually like dodging attacks, blocking attacks, timing your own attacks to do more damage. This looks like it's bringing back the bros attacks in a good way. I really like. When I first saw the art style, it kind of took me back. Like took me a second to look at it, and then I realized they're just making the box art style in like 3D form because the games
it's like
don't look
like shaded but 3D, and like you have the thick outline, but then it's some of the colors are like kind of faded out intentionally. It's like it's almost like a storybook looking, but 3D.
Yeah, so like a lot of the games have that like box art on the outside, but the games don't look like that. This is they're finally getting that into the game. It looks so good.
I didn't make that connection. Good on them. It looks really good. Like, and I think if Nintendo knows anything, like they know how to like have a really like
stylized
direction. They lean into it, and I think it just works. Performance and like stuff aside of the Switch, like with Pokemon and stuff like that, they really like commit to it and they do it well. So this game looks fun. I don't know if I'll play it at launch. I think it's November 7th.
Yeah, I think so. Early November. I don't know who's making it because Alpha Dream made the other ones, and Nintendo's been weird about that, about who's making their games. Yeah. I'm gonna get it. They're writing this game, and Mario RPGs historically have good writing. The enemies in this game are your friends are little plug outlet people, and the enemies is the extension core, which is hilarious.
The extension core.
The little extension cord people, but I'm really excited about this one. As I like all these games, and Superstar Saga is a top 25 all time for me.
Yeah.
Anything else for you?
One thing I'll slip in there just because it was another surprise that I don't think anyone was expecting, but the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection is coming out. Yeah. It actually just went up for pre-order, and because I'm just stupid, I just went ahead and pre-ordered it. I don't even know when it's coming out, but people gotta have that physically because I think that one is like dangerously close to like at any point when it comes back, it could just be delisted. It's like
hopefully this is permanent. Hopefully this is permanent.
You would think, but I'm of course going to acquire it physically. I went for the PlayStation 4 version, which I don't know why it's PlayStation 4 and Switch. I know there's the reason that has come out for like the Xbox not getting a version because of whatever. Why is there not a PS5 version? I don't know. But it's fine. But that was just a nice surprise because Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is just one of like the 6 or 7 games that's on this collection. Like that game is awesome by itself.
Take you for a ride,
dude. The main menu. It's funny because like I definitely had more experience with Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I was growing up just because it just kind of where it hit. But I did play Marvel vs. Capcom 2 for sure, like a bit growing up, and I mean, the art style is awesome. It like has aged beautifully, like of course because it's 2D. So yeah, I think that collection would be good to have.
I'm definitely gonna get this. Yeah. Last thing, honorable mention. Planning on buying an Xbox. I'll see what Xbox games I can find and make time for.
Same. I mean, that special edition, like Jesus, I'm gonna spend so much money in the fall on video games because I'm expecting that special edition 2 terabyte Xbox Series X to hit in like October around Call of Duty time. Yep. That's $600 right there. So,
plus tax.
I don't know, man. Plus tax, which is like too much.
We got to feed Uncle Sam first. But yeah, we do. Lots of good games. We've played lots of good games this year. Lots of games are still to come out. I will not play all of them because I don't have infinite time, but I would like to play all of them.
If only.
Yeah. But you know what? We're about an hour away from Elden Ring, so we got to get out of here.
We need to go get prepped. Yeah, get mentally ready.
I did phone. Wait, hey. Yeah, stupid left. always does.
Great.
Literally I do a thumbs up at the end of every video, pretty much, and this happens to me every time. It just keeps doing this crap.
Is it getting the capture?
Yes, it is absolutely in the capture.
Okay, good. Okay, I hope everyone can see that. I don't want to slap nothing. That's great.
I appreciate you talking with you, Brendan. Great games. Hopefully, about 6 months from now, we can recap all the games we actually got to play and go through the whole year, and it'll be 6.5 hours long.
I'm sure I will have bought plenty. How much?
A big stack of games. Yeah. Just so many games.
Huge. I mean, like there's many over here that I haven't even played yet or finished. It's
good stuff. But thank you for watching. Hope to talk about all these games when I get to them. And we'll see you next time.